Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Today is the 2021 Hoarding Mayhem Best of show. And I'm just kind of starting up here because I want to mention the carport. That's probably one of the best things I did this year. But let's just run through the deals real quick, starting in January of 2021. Just quickly before I get started, please let me know what you guys think. What your favorite all-terrain vehicle was, what your favorite deal was, what you would have never bought. You know, I really do look forward to the comments. And you guys can put more than one comment down. You might write something down, oh, that was my favorite. Then you might reconsider and pick a second favorite. That's allowed. I do look forward to the comments. The first deal of 2021 was this Baja Warrior frame. You more or less see it in the shape I bought it. What makes this a $100 frame is the extra plating here. The cheaper frames do not have that. I paid 80 bucks for this. Next up is this aluminum carry-all frame. I'm collecting up parts to kind of turn it into a monster off-road vehicle. I got the tires, I got the rear end here. I got to dig up, obviously, what I consider putting in for a drive chain and everything else. That was a $100 purchase. In March, I was getting kind of desperate, so I was really after bringing home an all-terrain vehicles. And then came a couple of 200M projects, called kind of the first mega deal. This was the parts bike. Paid $500 for it. And next up was this one I actually paid $650 for. It came with that fancy exhaust system. Somebody put in a Wisco piston and a hot cam and all the other stuff. Then came another mega deal. If you recall, I bought two TRX 300EX machines. This one is a partial. And this 300EX is complete. We actually got it running. Next came a crashed Raz scooter. I don't know if you guys recall. I only had the back half of it. That's up being put together with the rest of a Raz scooter to be completed. I bought this 185S in mid-May. I was told it was mint. I don't know if you guys recall, the back tires didn't match, half the plastic was missing, the seat was complete trash. Anyway, I paid $550 for this, which was much too much money. I kind of negotiated over the phone before looking at it. This was more like a $400 all-terrain vehicle. I've fixed it up since then. It's got the plastic, it's got the seat, it's got everything it should. It actually runs pretty good, though it does smoke. This is the one that somebody was running through the mud without an air cleaner on it. Anyway, so that's the story on this guy. $550 mid-May. Luckily, my buddy Steve came through for me. He got me this Jaguar 500 4x4. It's a copy of the Polaris. And he also got me this wrecked Kodiak and his frame to put it all together on. It's a big construction project. I really just need to get to it. Here's yet another mega deal. I got the Yamaha Moto 4 250 from Stanwood Studios and also a Polaris, my first. Here is the Polaris. We got it running. I need to mess around with the jetting on the carburetor before I put it all back together again. The next mega deal, I don't know if you guys remember when Joe came to my house. He brought me 3 all-terrain vehicles. This Rhapsody 150, it's got a GY6 on it. He brought me this Tao 125 that's doing a tail stand right now. This is the one that had the broken frame. And he brought me this other Tao that I've been stealing parts off of. It's one of those 110 cc's. It's a single speed. That's why I haven't had too much interest in bringing it back to life. Next is the last mega deal of the year. I picked up this guy. It's a Honda TRX 125. It's a 1987 vintage. That's why the plastic looks a little more modern. Anyway, this and a little China guy came in, and they were they were $400 for the pair. This one was the one that was wrecked in Pennsylvania at the Lost Trails. The front wheel was torn off. And the other one was just romped until it wouldn't move anymore. This is the 110cc one that somebody romped on it until they just beat the centrifugal clutch to death. You guys could see it's a single speed. We actually got it running, but honestly, the centrifugal clutch and I think the whole back of the motor is shot. This thing is the motor anyways, to the point of parts. It does start with the key. You can actually get on it. It'll start and it'll kind of grind along. But somebody literally, you can see the mud caked under it. I was told somebody was running this thing around a fixed lap over and over and over again until literally it was to the point where it barely moved. I bought this Honda 4Trax 300 4x4 in September, and it cost me $450. If you guys recall, it was seized, so it appeared, but what we did was, turns out the Kickstarter, there you are, was rubbing up against one of the clutches, and it appeared as if somebody was in there kind of fooling around. What happened with this is it kind of got stalled when I had to order parts for it. Now that I'm looking at it, I got to get back to figuring out what it needs, get it ordered, get it put back together again. Also, given that somebody was fooling around in there, I also wanted to get a book to make sure I had the right spaces in the right place and there were no spaces missing such that they were going to fall into the transmission and destroy the engine. So, $450. I don't know if you guys remember back to September when I picked up that little 50cc Coolster, the yellow thing you're looking at, two-stroke. It was something I kind of bought as something to work on and get running and see what it was like. I got to tell you, for somebody my size, it's really not strong enough to move me about. For the young person who's going to get it, he's just got to grow up a little bit more. By the way, this Coolster was $75, and it didn't cost anything to fix it. I just had to weld the sprocket up. Next up is a $300 Facebook Marketplace deal. This is a Honda TRX 200 SX. You guys know, one of my more favorite all-terrain vehicles. I was told this thing was blown up on top. The engine was shot. But I was surprised when I pulled the string and actually found some compression there. We got it running. It does smoke a bit, and it's debatable. Maybe it's calming down. Maybe it's not. Kind of depends on what angle you're looking at and how much the wind is blowing. So, $300, Facebook Marketplace. This is a 1986 Honda TRX 200 SX. I traveled up to see Don Johnson around Albany there, Albany, New York. And I traded him a rear off a TRX 250 that was kind of floating around the driveway, getting itself into trouble out in the weather, and some rims for this. He wasn't doing anything with the motor, and I have no TRX 200 SX parts in my inventory. So I kind of wanted to get this, and he kind of needed the rear end for a TRX 250 that he was rebuilding. The rear end he had was completely blown up and the casings were shot. So this was a trading deal. I just had to go fetch it. Here's the next one. This was a $500 deal. I got it on Facebook. If you guys recall, it's a Mint TRX 250. but it's seized. And I'm still finding that so hard to believe, given that the starter gears appear to be in nice shape. That's normally where the material sheds off of that gets stuck between the stator and flywheel. It looks like it was pretty well taken care of. It's got oil in it, so I'm kind of surprised that it's seized up from lack of oil. The oil looks normal dirty. It doesn't look like it's crazy dirty, and it doesn't look like it's brand new, as in, oh shoot, I messed my engine up, let me change the oil, maybe it'll come back magically. So it's partially taken apart. What I really need to do with this is get it back on its wheels, pull the motor off entirely, get it on a bench, figure out if it's fixable or if I'm just going to swap it out. I do have another motor to put on here. That's probably what I should do just for getting things moving. This is the last all-terrain vehicle that came home, and it's come home recently. This is the Redneck Modified 185, ATC 185. From the numbers on it, I think the frame is a 1980. The motor is a 200cc motor with an upshift pattern, which makes that somewhere around the 1985. There's been a few other welding projects here, right? Somebody's kitchen pipe and, you know, that headlight, I don't know, it came off an old Buick or something, though it's got the right lens in it. So, interesting redneck project. Somebody worked real hard at keeping this one running. Last but not least, I got this one from Morningstar. It was $150, but we have the Captain America Baja Warrior. It's one of the newer ones. You could see it doesn't have that plating around the neck there. So this would be considered a $50 frame. Anyway, in all its glory, it was $150 between the ape hanger handlebars and the front tire off your tractor there. The auction marking still on the seat. So this was the last one to come in, and it was $150. So all told, there were 4 mega deals, right? 4 three-wheelers came in, 1 golf cart, 3 mini bikes, 4 mini bikes, excuse me, 2 Baja Warriors. There were 14 quads that came in. On the mega deals, we have the 2 ATC 200Ms, we have the TRX 125 and the Beat to its life's end, China 4-wheelers. We have the 110 GY6 125 from Joe. That was free. That was the best of deals. And the mega of the Yamaha and the Polaris. Okay, and that was actually part of a mega deal too. How did it miss the list? Oh, it's on the next page. And the super mega deal. The Kazuma Jaguar, the Yamaha Kodiak, and the pair of 300EXs. Probably my favorite mega deal out of all of them was the Jaguar, the wrecked Kodiak, and the 2 300EXs. That mega deal I kind of tied the most money up in, and I don't want to give you an exact price because I got it from a friend, but I would say that's the one that I like the best. And let me tell you why. He kept telling me that this Jaguar, you know, it's a copy of the Sportsman 500. It's a good machine. You really like it. And I was kind of like, yeah, sure. But the deal was good enough, and I went for it. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. I actually really kind of do like the Jaguar after all. So that's my favorite mega deal. Out of all the deals, right, to go to individual units, I probably like this 300 EX the best out of all of them. And let me tell you why. I kind of learned a lot from this. This thing was down for a dead engine, low compression. And I adjusted the valves and did all that kind of stuff. And the compression was still low. And I kind of gave up on it. And I got on the zero turn, started cutting the grass. And I was thinking about it. I said, you know, maybe that intake valve isn't quite sealing. If you guys go back to the video, I put some oil into the intake. It sealed. The engine started, ran beautiful. I was like amazed. So this one was kind of the closest to death, and I managed to pull it back and save it from that. So I would go with, you know, that was my favorite mega deal. I got some interesting machines out of it. I got a good friend out of it. And this one here, I actually kind of came up with a new way of saving them on. So that I'm going with favorite. This 1987, I'd have to say it's my least favorite, my worst deal. Probably one I should have left back at the curb back then. And I knew what I was buying, right? But you kind of get stuck by circumstances to what you end up with. If you recall, one of the front wheels were torn right off, but it did start and it ran. So you kind of say, well, the thing died of a front wheel torn off. So I invested in bearings and got that fixed up. We got this thing out for a ride and realized very quickly that the clutch is also shot. And as I was riding it, even with the slipping clutch, this thing has no suspension, so hard nose, hardtail. And as I'm riding it, I'm thinking to myself, I remember why I've never fixed one of these Honda no suspension quads. They are just a miserable ride. There's no fun. It's just like, you know, riding an elephant in a motorcycle race. It was just a complete and total disappointment. So I'm disappointed in that, and even the little 110cc, it's a single speed. Though cosmetically the plastics are halfway decent and all, that part of it isn't bad, or just mechanically. And I can bring it back, but it's one of those small frame 110 cc's meant for like 60-pound people. It just, for $400, I paid too much for the deal, and even if both of them were mint, they were junk. So, you know, my fault, right? You go into a deal. I'm not saying it was financially a bad deal. You start going through the parts, right? You got your Ford tires, you got your motor. Even if it has a slip-slidey clutch, it's a 4-speed reverse. I mean, from a parts point of view, even the parts on the 125, on the 110, all the tires hold air and so forth. But I'd have to say that this TRX 125 and the 110cc, that combo platter, that mega deal, individually, together, however you split and dice it and everything else, maybe financially it wasn't that bad, but this was not the deal. I should have never went for it. I shouldn't be taking up space with it. It was a mistake. A few lessons you kind of learn. When I picked up this $650 ATC 200M, he said he put a piston into it. He said he put, you know, springs and cam and all that stuff into it. Turns out he popped the head gasket. I don't think he tightened it down right, or he didn't replace it. Anyway, all that was wrong with it from a compression point of view was it popped the head gasket. Well, the compression, once it came back with that hot cam, it was so bad that I found out he also took out the electric starter and the starter gears. And when you go to pull it over by hand with the ripcord, with the recoil starter, it is just a nasty thing. It kicks back, it bites, It's just, you know, I'm disappointed in it. I saw that it was an ATC 200M motor. I figured, oh, piece of cake. I'll have this thing running in no time at all. Turns out that once again, somebody else's hands got in there and messed with it too much. I'm going to end up just swapping that motor out. I kind of put the motor on, discovered how unhappy I was with it, and put it in here and kind of walked away. I got to reverse that and actually get it running and riding. I have to give a special award to this Polaris Exploder 250. It was the smelliest all-terrain vehicle I have ever worked on. Mice built a nest right in there, and it stunk when I took it apart. If I get close enough now, it'll still stink. This thing is just the most horrid smelling all-terrain vehicle in the world. I'm amazed, really amazed, that it ran as good as it did. It seems to have good compression. The wiring, they didn't eat any of the wiring. All those things, really, really nice. But boy, this thing truly wins the award for bad smell. To me, the Kazuma Jag 500 was the biggest surprise. I kind of thought, more junk from China. But it actually rides pretty good. It's strong, it's smooth, it's really a very nice machine. I was very pleasantly surprised by this. From a price point of view, I don't know what a new Polaris 500 or the equivalent would cost you. But these Jaguars were going for like $39.95, $3,995, that is, back in the day. And I'm pretty sure back in the day, the 500 Polaris was working its way from 5 to 6,000. So, you know, a full third less, or, you know, I don't know. I kind of liked it, and to me, that was a little bit of a surprise. If I had to go with the comeback kid, a machine that kind of came back from the dead pretty well, this is the Honda 185S, the 84 vintage. When I put the plastic on there, cleaned up the tank and everything else, it actually started to look really pretty decent. So that point of view, you know, we'll call it a comeback kid. I'm kind of glad I went through the horde of all-terrain vehicles. I averaged close to 2 a month. I think in total 23, 24 if you include the little Jeep there for the year. That's a couple a month. Each unit kind of brings a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of entertainment. Like that Kodiak. I was looking at the frame and looking at the replacement frame. The frame is really not meant to be crashed. I think they might have it reinforced enough where you could ride the heck out of it. But if you put unscheduled torque on the frame to get the lightweight out of it, it just folds, right? They don't really have it gusseted up, and the material isn't thick enough to really absorb a crash very well. Especially that one looks like it took a stump or a rock or something low, and it just pushed it all right back. There wasn't anything to keep it from moving. So this was the best of 2021. Can't wait for 2022. We'll do even more. I really would love to hear what you guys think on all these different machines, the Horde, the Carport. Take a look at 2021, and once again, let me know what you think. This has been a little bit of a transitional year for me also. I put the carport up, and I've been trying to get organized down in the basement and elsewhere, places you can't necessarily see. Right, I'm trying to burn off some firewood that's been floating around for a while. I want to use the space the firewood sitting in for something else. There's some projects going on in the house that you guys can't necessarily see either. So I'm trying to move everything along at the same time. And it's moving. Things are going well. Caught a bit of a plague over Christmas, but that's not unexpected. You see people that you don't see for 3, 6, 9 months at a time. Suddenly, when you all get together, you bring the New York City bugs and the upstate New York bugs and the out-of-state bugs all into the same room, and before you know it, everybody goes home with a little bit of an illness. So, nothing to worry about. Just it is what it is. All right, folks. I really, really want to thank everybody for their support to make the channel what it is. 33,000 subscribers, and I really do appreciate that. Appreciate all the views. Typically, I get somewhere around 180,000 views a month, which is really pretty cool. I'd like to drive that up a little higher. I just got to thank you guys. I really do appreciate the support and the suggestions. I hope I teach you guys a lot, and you guys teach me things too. Given the huge variety of stuff that I have in here, I'm not an expert on anything. I have some really pretty decent mechanic skills, and I know my Honda stuff very well. But, you know, I definitely had no idea on the Polaris stuff, right? Even this Moto 4, I didn't know behind that Yamaha cover, you can actually take that cover off, wrap a rope around it, and use it as a non-recoiling rope starter. So, folks, I need y'all to keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out there and have the best 2021 end and an even better 2022 for the whole year. Remember, feet down, heads up, get out and enjoy each and every day. A good year is a good year, one day at a time. Bye now.